Hi everyone, Y from myfractalrange.com here. It's been a while. Sorry for taking that long. Greetings from sunny Madrid. Uh, a lot of happened in my life, but finally I'm back and I will do my best to release those videos more often. Uh, Also, today I will show you something new because I had some questions on Twitter Spaces for the past couple of months. I was talking that in this regime I'm mostly day trading. I'm not holding any overnight risk. So in the end of this video I will also show you a bit uh, how I do some simple volume analysis to find levels that are suitable for day trading and some swing trading as well, especially for futures. Uh, okay, so let's begin. It's Sunday, 27th of November 2022. This week was pretty interesting. Of course, we had a holiday, so I think that we can pay less attention to the last 2 days, but of course, we'll cover everything from the beginning, all the signals, what signals are telling me, and what I plan to do next week. Okay, so first, as always, let's go back to myfractalrange.com. I have a list of some SPY sectors, ETFs, also gold, UUP, VIX, and so on. And let's take a look. So first of all, as always, I will filter everything based on Hurst exponent. And yeah, so from Hurst exponent, we see that 3-month Hurst is the highest on XLE and USO. Of course, it makes sense. We saw interesting movements in oil, and I think that those movements can still continue further. So oil is bearish, but XLE is bullish. We saw that now market participants are quite positive. Some people are joking or maybe even saying that seriously that bear market is over. Of course, I don't think so, and I'm planning to search for spots to enter into short positions. Again, I don't have any overnight positions now. I'm 100% in cash. Even my options book is in cash. So yeah. So from Hurst exponent, we see that TLT is also strong. So we'll see how it goes. TLT had a pretty good run over the last few weeks. So we'll see if it continues. But based on the basic signal analysis, actually it can continue going. So be careful out there. Also, VIX is in the 20s. So, of course, in this regime, going long, if you are not holding longs, this is definitely not the time. From the range perspective, we see that upside to downside ratio is almost 1 on VIX, so it's in the middle of the range, but I don't think that VIX will go way lower, so maybe 19, 18 can be a good spot to start opening some initial short positions if you don't have any, and I hope you don't, because these past weeks and maybe months were not good for bears, as you all can see. So what has the lowest Hurst exponent? So XLC, XLY, and QQQ, which is quite interesting that major indices, so SPY, QQQ, and IWM are pretty choppy because 0.67 or 0.65 for a 3-month Hurst exponent is not really high. So for me, if 3-month Hurst exponent is below 0.7, it means it is quite a choppy asset. From trend perspective, we see that quite a lot of sectors and equities are bullish trend. Some are neutral, and Not a lot of red here. XLY is red as we can see, but basically that's it from the most important assets I'm watching. And of course, negative correlations between SPY and the dollar are very important here. So we can see that UUP is bearish trend, and UUP fell quite a lot, and euro dollar is way above one. So yeah, keep that in mind. That basically get the dollar right, and it will be a good signal for you to act in equities. So if you see that dollar continues to go down, which it can do because Hertz exponent of 0.7 is decent. So if dollar continues going down, it's not a good idea to enter equity short positions. And actually we can take a look into some correlations here. So I will open a chart of course, UUP versus the SPY, just to take a look what's going on. So this one will be 30-day correlation. So, and as you can see, those correlations are pretty negative. So keep that in mind. It's always important. I was talking about dollar correlations all the time. So just keep that in mind, that you need to see the signal in dollar as well, not only in things that people use the most, so VIX and SPY. So yeah, never ignore the signals in the dollar space. Okay, so now we will check all the correlations. After that we will go to momentum scores, and yeah, as promised, in the end of the video I will talk a little about this chart you see here, which is a volume profile analysis, especially for futures and day trading. Okay, so let's start from SPY sectors and other stuff. So 30-day correlations. I'm sure a lot of changes since my last video, well, because that video was a long time ago. Okay, so first let's check correlations to the SPY. As we can see, okay, gold is positive, even bonds are positive, so keep that in mind. It's never a good thing to have. So dollar strongly negative, very good. Overall correlations are not low. Again, XLU has the lowest correlation, which is 0.75, but overall correlations are quite high. So we can see that QQQ is at 0.98, and of course XLK, which is just a different structure, but same thing, is 0.97, XLY 0.93. IWM 0.95. So those are not low. You can say that those are low, but of course I don't see an extreme picture yet, and that's another warning sign, because some sectors and other assets are not extremely correlated, so we want that risk to build a bit more, and of course we'll see what will happen. But yeah, for those who are interested in rolling 5-day correlations, we also have that. So it's a 5-day return correlation. So for those who are holding positions for longer, so what can you expect if you hold two positions for at least 5 days? So again, QQQ 0.95, XLY also 0.95, and XLU only 0.53. So I will keep talking about XLU, even though I don't have any positions right now, but I always like to watch that as a proxy, as a possible signal of a regime change or some opportunities in the trading space. Financials are quite low correlated. Well, of course, it's because of what's happening in the rates markets. You can see that TLT is positively correlated to SPY, so keep that in mind. Also, gold is also not a hedge for those who think otherwise. No, it's not. It has quite a decent positive correlation to the SPY. So here is the situation on a 30-day basis. Now let's take a look what's going on in a 10-day basis. One second. Okay, so here we have it. So on a 10-day basis, also SPY TLT 0.19, so positive. So one's not a hedge, as always, but also not an extreme short signal for everything as well. So gold 0.56. Overall correlations, as you can see, are not high, so keep that in mind. Again, I will wait for those correlations to strengthen, if that happens, of course. I use other signals also. I will talk about them later, but basically, yeah, correlations are not extreme, so be careful and no need to do risky stuff here. I know that we all want to short things immediately. Being patient is very hard, but usually it pays off. Patience pays off. So now we'll take a look at 5 days. And again, what can we see? That SPY to TLT is 0.54 also. So on a 5-day basis, it gives us some encouragement and some idea that we can start looking for things to break. And maybe next week or soon after, we'll see some signals to act. Again, this week was pretty weak, so because last 2 days you can't count on them, so we'll see what's going on in what will happen next week. But again, correlations are not very high, except of course QQQ, XLK, which makes sense because now people are buying tech, people are buying stocks in general. So yeah, but spying QQQ can be a good idea to trade. Also SPY IWM, which is a very popular spread, and I always have it in my watch list, so we'll see. But no, I don't see any extreme signals here. And let's just take a look what's going on in rolling 5 days correlation. So again, I always look at SPY TLT, and wow, striking, it's also positive. So yeah. But gold has almost 0.55 correlation to SPY, so also I know that people like to trade gold. Usually I don't like to trade gold. I like to trade things like oil more if we are talking about not equities. But yeah, for those who are trading gold, keep that in mind, that you can't ignore this thing. For sure. Okay, so let's finish with SPY sectors and other stuff, and let's move to developed markets. Developed markets is always interesting to take a look at what's going on, because usually we see some differences there compared to US markets. Okay, so let's start with 5 days. Again, if you remember, I was saying that usually I just take a look into the correlation to SPY. So again, I don't see any extreme correlations here. Things are looking pretty normal. That's why I don't like, because a lot of people who are just blindly following signals, they are long, and for this period it was a good idea, as we can see, but from my view, based on macro and other things, and also I speak with businesses here in Europe, and not only in Europe, also in the US, I still think that 2023 will not be good for economy, for people, and for markets. So that's why I'm not going long. But for now, from signal perspective, what we can see. For those who are interested in trading some spreads, so maybe SPY EWK worth looking at, or EWH versus EWK also worth looking at, because usually you can take two not strongly positively correlated assets, and then you can create a chart and see what the signal is telling you. So for example, I would look to EWH versus EWO, or EWH versus EWK, to see what's going on here. But again, from 5-day correlations, I don't see any clear signals that it's time to short the markets. That's why most likely I will continue to just day trade, at least for now. Okay, let's move to 10 days. And what we see on a 10-day basis. Okay. So here we see a bit of different picture. We also have some negative correlations. That this is even better for spread traders. But again, EWH is a good candidate to take a look at, and of course EWH to SPY, or Eden to EWH, or EWS to Eden. Well, we can clearly see that also EWH, EWP, also quite a good candidate for spreads. But now we're not talking about spreads, because I'm not trading spreads at the moment. So we don't see very big correlations here. Yeah, of course, you can see that EWA, EWC has like 0.93, 0.91 to SPY, but still majority of sectors are quite fine. Countries, not sectors, sorry. So what I'm looking at is to see a very strong correlations in all equities, so country or sector, etc. And then it gives me a lot more ideas to act on trading. So for now, I will just stick to futures. And of course, let's move to a 30-day. Yeah, again, EWH is interesting. I remember I showed you a spread I had, which also contained EWH, but it was a lot of months ago. So, but as we can see, Hong Kong is still worth adding to your watch lists, and maybe it will give you some ideas for your own portfolios, or at least it will help you to better understand long short portfolios, how I build them, how I trade those spreads. But again, I don't see anything. Correlations are low, so of course it's good for short-term traders, but I don't expect markets to crash like tomorrow or whatever. And by crash, I don't mean that I don't expect red day. Of course it can be a red day, but I don't expect like negative 3% or whatever day based on all of those signals. Of course 30-day correlations are slower, always slower, but even from 5-day correlations I don't expect that. So hope that helps. And as always, let me know if those videos are helpful, and maybe you want me to cover something else in those videos also. Okay, so now the last thing for correlations will be emerging markets. Let's take a look, and then we'll move to momentum scores. And in this regime, to be honest, momentum scores can help you a lot more for short-term opportunities, especially with changes in momentums. Yeah, from colors I see that correlations are pretty weak. So everything looks pretty normal, and things can continue to grind higher slowly. Also, Hurst exponents are not extreme. So if if I see that correlations are continuing to weaken, but at the same time Hurst exponents are continuing to strengthen, or are starting to strengthen, depending on which assets we are talking about, then I will be even more convinced that shorting is not an option here, and best is to stay in cash, or use different strategies if you want to participate in the markets. Because if correlations are weak but Hursts are strong, then the grind higher can definitely continue. So yeah, nothing to talk about here, because as you can see, correlations are very low, even to SPY. I mean, EWY has 0.87, but that's basically it. Poland 0.76, but that's basically it. Okay, let's move to 10 days. Uh, Pretty similar situation. So what we have here, EPHE and AGT has a very strong negative correlation. ICOL and AGT has a very strong negative correlation as well. Some other participants, some other ETFs have also interesting negative correlations for spreads. But now basically you know the process. Hopefully I managed to explain how I view things. So now you uh, know how to create spreads based on those assets, and correlations, of course, are not proprietary, so you can calculate your own correlations for any assets. And but the only advice is that those two assets must make sense together. So if you are watching country ETFs, don't add to a spread like an commodity, like an oil or natural gas, or whatever. So those spreads must make sense. If it's two tech companies, it's two tech companies. If it's two companies but from different sectors, that's fine. But if those assets are totally not related, like for example, you take gold and Poland, for example. So no, don't do those spreads. It doesn't make any sense, and usually the results will not be that good. So yeah, but quite a few candidates to create some interesting spreads, and also with the SPY. So ICOL to SPY and AGT to SPY. So try that, create those spreads on TradingView, on my fractal range, add it to your watch list. Of course, don't trade it immediately and blindly, but maybe you will see something interesting here. And the last but not least, 5 days. And what we have here, ICOL, most likely some issues with the data. I will not edit that, or so yeah, but ICOL now, most likely data provider has some issues, or something else happened. Sorry about that, but again, we can see that overall correlations are not very high. On 5-day basis, we see some signs regarding EWY, EZA, but that's basically it. EWM to FXI. Regarding China, my advice is to choose one. So either you are trading Hong Kong or China, don't trade on both at the same time. I did that, and yeah, so results show that choose one. Most likely, I would choose CWH, not FXI, for spreads. But yeah, again, sorry regarding ICOL. I don't know what just happened here, but correlations, overall correlations are not extreme, and you can find some ideas to monitor. But the main goal of today's video is, especially after such a long time, the main goal is try to explain why I'm not long and why I'm not short and why I'm waiting. So I think if I manage to achieve that goal, this video will will be a good one. So hopefully I will manage to do that. Okay, momentum scores. So let's finish with correlations for now. Yeah, SPY sectors and our stuff, 5 days. So, dollar. First thing to note, dollar negative 0.33 on a 5-day basis, gold negative 0.2, everything else is basically positive. So you don't short stocks when momentum scores are positive, and especially one thing you need to monitor is the changes. So starting from tomorrow, I will come back to tweeting those momentum scores. As I said, I had a lot of stuff going on, so sorry that I rarely tweeted those numbers, but basically what you need to look at is not only whether it's negative or positive, but overall changes on a daily basis. We will add that to myfractalrange.com soon, but for now, yeah, I need to do a better job tweeting those numbers daily. So hope that helps. But basically, positive momentum, no shorts. So what has a strong momentum? XLU, interesting. Okay, 10 days. Yeah, TLT. Whoa. TLT, XLP. Okay, so UUP is strongly negative, not oversold, but yeah, in this list it's the most negative thing. So also Bitcoin and gold has neutral momentum on a 10-day basis, and I monitored gold over the last couple of weeks. Yeah, so we had a bull run, and now we came back. So that's why. But actually, most likely the changes in momentum score were signaling the changes here. Yeah, but again, I'm just talking about that. But now I understand that I was not beating those numbers, so basically it doesn't matter. But hope this helps. And the 30-day basis. And the momentum scores, I will also include commodities because, of course, knowing the momentums in commodities always helps to trade futures, to trade ETFs, and also to generate ideas for related assets. Okay, dollar is very, very negative. XLI positive, XLP very positive, Dow Jones, yeah, Bitcoin negative, and gold on a 30-day basis is positive. So mixed signals, and of course we understand why, but short-term signals show that maybe in the short term buying gold is not a good idea. Yeah, but again, the goal here is the dollar, and correlations are remain the same. negative, so no changes since the last video. But the crucial and very important change is the dollar, of course, because when we were talking in my last video, basically, of course, the dollar was booming. So monitor dollar, and I'm sure it will help you to generate ideas for equities. Yeah, but as we can see from equity space is no short here. XLY maybe worth monitoring what's going on with that one. Okay, developed markets. For today's. So what we have, EWH. So all positive, but the lowest EIS and EWH, and a lot of strong momentum. So EWI, of course, EWP, EWO, and so on. So again, developed markets are grinding higher as well. Uh, I believe Raphael was tweeting about the DAX and CAC and so on. So yeah, you can clearly see that no one understands what's going on with Europe. Well, what's going on? Stocks are going up, but when you talk with representatives of businesses and quite big companies, it doesn't matter where those companies are located. No, I'm in Spain. I met some business people here and back in Baltics and Poland and Germany, and they all say that the future is not very bright. But as you can see, stocks are going up, so be careful. Okay, 10 days. Yeah, what we have here. Nothing too striking. EWP is nice. Oh, EIS is negative, so worth mentioning that. I believe uh, from correlation perspective, EIS was also signaling something interesting on a short-term basis. You can always revert, go back in a video and check that out. But EIS can be an interesting signal. Of course, today is very interesting for me as well because I was not monitoring markets for the last week, almost for the entire week because yeah, I had a lot of stuff to do, and so even for me now it's very interesting to see and talk because to be honest, I don't know what those assets were doing like for the last at least 3 days. So all those changes are new to me as well. Yeah, but yeah, yes, worth monitoring. I will definitely check what's going on with that, and maybe I will create some spreads in the watch list. Okay, and 5 days. Okay, so EWH. I remember that since I started making those videos, EWH was very interesting from the beginning. So yeah, and I see that situation is still the same. I still have it in my watch list, so yeah, very interesting. Okay, EWS also on a 5 day basis, but the things we are interested in mostly, so SPY positive, uh, so yeah, SPY is positive and Germany positive, so be careful out there. But if those scores start to weaken or change, I will make sure to tweet that because it can be a signal that maybe something interesting is about to happen. So maybe Jim Cramer will announce some Christmas rally or something, and then it will be a great signal to short things. Of course, I'm joking. And let's go to emerging markets before we start talking about day trading a little. So, what we have here. On a 5 day basis. Okay, quite few negative ones. So KSA, QAT, FXI. Yeah, so China is doing is telling different story compared to EWH. But usually it only happens in a short-term basis, and if you have both FXI and EWH for a longer term, those results will be going to, basically those assets will be going to the same direction, at least in most cases. Um, okay, so EWM is quite strong. EPHC is also above one. ICOL basically has neutral momentum. So maybe what I would do is I would start more monitoring QAT and maybe I would try to combine that with some others. But when this momentum is that negative, so it's already minus 1.2, it's not the time to short that thing. I mean, the signal is telling you that basically uh, the game is already played, and of course it can continue, but it's too late to do anything anyway. Yeah, so I'm very excited, but I will come back to active trading and active and I will actively participate in the market starting from tomorrow. So yeah, I'm sure I will have more to say. Okay, QAT, yeah, definitely. So interesting things happened in QAT, but of course I was not monitoring that. So now we're just talking about what happened in the past, and of course that's not the goal. The goal is to make some decisions for the next week. Yeah, but now I can clearly see that one thing remains the same. So that thing is that I will not hold overnight risk, at least for now. But regarding everything else, yeah, because I was not monitoring actively over the last couple of weeks. Basically, now I can just say, of course, what happened and what I would do, but it doesn't mean that I will do. Tomorrow, when markets open, I will start working on new ideas. Yeah, let's move to 30 days. Then I will do quick commodities review, and then as promised, basically, I will tell you one part of what I'm doing on a daily basis when I'm trading this regime. How I decide whether I'm looking for short-term longs or short-term shorts, and by short-term I mean intraday, not swing. Okay, yeah, QAT, KSA. So basically, same situation. Oh, Poland is very strong. EWM, EWW, yeah, AGT, which is actually nice. That's why I always combine different stuff and different signals, and I advise you do the same because, for example, now you see that AGT is quite interesting. But if you remember when we were looking into correlations, AGT stand out as well. So yeah, definitely worth checking that out. I don't know how long this video will be, but hopefully not too long. Yeah, so commodities will just cover it very quickly, just to show you the momentum scores because it's still not available on the MFR. So of course, uh, it will be best if I show you all of them. So okay, QAT, KSA. No, okay, I will not cut that. Sorry about, yeah, but okay, so the chart was the same. So and I know why. Yeah. Okay, so now we will take a look at the commodities. Sorry for that mistake. Again, I know that time is precious. Okay, coffee. On a 30-day basis, coffee very negative. PALL also negative, and wheat, but we can see quite a few interesting signals. So of course silver. If you combine silver with things like gold, and gold was in another list, so it wasn't SPY sectors and other stuff, so you can compare that. You will see some interesting things, I'm sure. Yeah, but silver is nice, definitely nice. So maybe gold, silver for those. I know that few of you already traded that spread, and some even hold it as an investment. Doesn't matter if it's long gold, short silver, or otherwise. But I know that some people do that. So yeah, maybe it will be interesting for you, because silver versus gold, this spread, I'm sure that it was a nice trade for those who had it. Okay, and UNG neutral momentum. Yeah, so that was 30 days. Now let's take a look. 10 days. Whoa. Okay. So UNG positive. Everything else, almost everything else, negative. Yeah, soybeans slightly positive, wood slightly positive, but yeah. So interesting, interesting. Actually, I think I see some ideas here, especially with copper and maybe also palladium. To be honest, I feel a bit strange doing this video when I was not trading for a couple of weeks, but actually it's even better because yeah, some things surprise me as well. Great, yeah, this one looks more normal. So yeah, coffee, UNG. Yeah, so UNG, as we can see, is quite strong. Uh, okay, what silver is doing? Yeah, silver is also positive. So if you remember gold, gold tells you a different story. So yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, palladium. So I said that copper and maybe palladium. So based on 10-day basis, but now copper is not an option. Maybe palladium is worth checking out more, and copper on the other side maybe, because it's a reversal signal. Yeah, but keep in mind that I'm not trading those spreads. I'm just showing you how I think about the process, and next week I will have a lot more to tell, because I will be trading more actively, I'm sure. Okay, so I hope it was helpful, and as promised, on Twitter Spaces I was talking about day trading. So in the future I will make a video on order flow, because the order flow is quite a topic that requires its own separate video, uh, especially for scalping, and also it requires some special tools. I have this order flow platform here, but I will not show clusters or footprints or other order flow related stuff. Now I will just show you a quick way to do a volume analysis, how I do it on a daily basis when I'm preparing to trade. I'm mostly doing that for futures markets, but to be honest, you can do that for stocks and ETFs, basically for everything that has volume. So this is order flow platform, but you can do that on TradingView as well. So the indicators are called volume profile. I'm sure some of you are familiar with that. So, for example, this is at the bottom of the chart. Basically, this is a normal volume you guys are used to. So vertical volume basically just tells you the volume that was traded on that bar. But of course that's not that useful to me. I use a so-called horizontal volume, which tells me the volume that was traded at every tick, so at every price. So that's the main difference. So, and volume profile, and I have multiple time frames for that volume profile. So of course, session. So one day to see what happened on a daily basis. So if you see now basically this green line here and also here, it's a monthly volume profile. So it tells you basically that in November the biggest volume was traded at this price, and in October the biggest volume was traded at that price, and so on. And those blue ones are weekly. So basically I'm using monthly, weekly, and daily. Daily is a red line. So for example, on Friday here was the biggest volume, but of course based on volume bars, I'm sure you will agree on me that with me that this Friday and Thursday is not worth even talking about. So first of all, for day trading, so now let's imagine that this Friday was normal day. So let's just pretend that we will use this level tomorrow, which I don't think is a good idea. But anyway, if in the pre-market and the first minutes of cash session open price is above previous day's volume profile, you can basically you only scalp to the long side. So when you see retracements, especially if it comes back close to that previous day's volume profile, you only search entry points to the long side, and of course if it's below, then you search for a short. Why I use different time frames? Because for example, weekly volume profile level, so it's called point of control, is a lot more stronger, and same goes with a monthly. So that one is even more stronger. So if price reaches previous week's point of control, or if it's already the end of the week, like Thursday, Friday, even current week's level can be pretty significant. Then you can think about intraday swing trades, or even swing trades that can take up to multiple days. So that's basically a very important tool, and I recommend you check that out. But basically today I will not teach you any strategies or how I enter trades, what I'm looking at. I just wanted to show you that horizontal volume can give you very important signals. So current levels I'm looking are, so we will start from with ES. So of course S&P, it's a continuous contract. So December current contract. So okay, basically the November's level is 39.65. So basically, if that breaks, we can expect a significant move to the downside. And if that breaks 39.65, basically it can go, first stop would be maybe 38.80, but most likely it would go to 3800, so 38.10, something like that. So yeah, so monthly level for November in ES is 39.65. So measure that on a chart. I think that it's important. Previous weeks, so this week's level was at 40.30. So also basically the price is sitting right at that level. So we'll see where it will go tomorrow. But basically, if it goes higher, I would not short there for sure. So yeah, most important levels again: 39.65, 4030. Uh, let's move to NQ. Yeah. So NQ. November's level is, you can say that it's 11,800. So 11,800, and you can see that the price is lower. So you see the big difference between ES and NQ. So yeah, Friday's level was also close to that, so 11,805. But again, it doesn't really matter in my opinion. So this week we will not cover daily levels, because usually I only monitor 2 or 3 previous daily levels, and the last 2 days were not active. Sorry about that. So yeah, 11,800. If price continues below, it's a short, and first stop can be the previous week's level, which is 11,600. I think it's 11,604. 605, but yeah, if we go lower, there is a big chance that we will at least test that level. So yeah, that's how I'm looking at things. And for example, yeah, so if this week's level was 11,605, but previous week's level was 11,040, so yeah, these levels are always important. And some futures behave more accurate than others. For example, oil usually respects those levels very well. That's why I like to trade CL futures, and then now we'll take a look at CL. Yeah, but for the next week, see what happens at 11,800, 11 and 11,600 first, and then the next. I mean, if we have real sell off, then maybe even 11,000. Okay. CL. Let's go to oil. And I really like oil, to be honest. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's make it bigger. Okay, so November's level is 88.30. For those who plan to do some to search for some entry points for day trading or whatever that is. Of course, I don't recommend doing that, but if you want, I think this is a lot better way when compared to just staring at charts or using some technical indicators that are based on random stuff. Yeah, so 88.30, something like that, and this week's level was 77.80, 77.70. We are below, so we'll see if it continues lower. Then we can even check some levels where it can go. But as you can see, that we are quite low, so we need some other signals to understand, and some more time to even understand where it can go. But of course, we are all technical people will say that we are approaching quite an important zone in this contract. So anyway, maybe yes, maybe no. I'm not a very technically related person, to be honest. And maybe another one that we can cover is gold. Yeah, but basically, again, I just received some questions, so I thought maybe I will just show you something, because I cannot show you order flow things here, because I mean it will take a separate video. It's a lot of stuff. Yeah, okay. So with gold, and all those contracts are December ones. So for those who are asking. Okay, so 1764. So we are below that. Is November's level. This week's level we are quite above 1742. Yeah, but this week was not very interesting. So if we continue lower, first step would be like 1710, 1713, something like that. And yeah, for those who never saw a footprint in their lives, I can show you what that is. So basically, give me a sec. Of course, this is a 4-hour chart, so I would not do that. But yeah, okay. Okay, so hope this video was helpful. It was quite a different one because some things were also new to me as well. So yeah, I hope that now everything will be fine and I will be able to do those videos on a daily basis, and also I will be more active on Twitter, and some exciting things are going to be added to myfractalrange.com. I'm very excited about that, and yeah, so see you next week. Manage your risk. Sorry again for this pause in my videos, and yeah, have a great week. All the best.